Now, the thing about the video is, at first I was like, I don't know. So what happened was the prosecution gave a video that was much grainier to the defense than the version they had, which was much, much clearer. That's not okay. They're supposed to turn it over. And originally I was like, well, does it really matter? Because the defense saw what was in the video. They knew it was in the video. They argued what was in the video. They had multiple versions of the video. And here on the screen, if you guys want to check it out on YouTube, we're putting it up. You can see quite a difference between the grainy video that was given to the defense and the much clearer video that the prosecution kept for itself. The grainy is on top and the clear is on bottom. And boy, oh boy, it really is like looking through a pair of binoculars and focusing them. Top versus bottom. So when this came up in court, it was kind of a fascinating moment, Robert. I mean, it appeared to me the prosecution just got caught. They got caught red-handed by a young defense counsel named Wisco. It was a woman who we hadn't heard from yet in the case. It's probably a younger associate who was in charge of, the exhibits and so on. And so we're going to play it for you. This is Binger, the assistant district attorney, Krause, his co-counsel, and the female's voice is Wisco. She's defense. And you'll hear the judge weighing in as well and the defense counsel, Richards. They're back and forth. And what's happening is Binger's trying to show video, and he's not happy that it's not very good quality because they were using the defense version. So we're going to play it, and we're going to put the words on the screen for folks on YouTube, and then I'm going to walk our listeners through it so the folks just listening to this can understand. Listen.
Okay, you can stop because we're past it now. This is the same quality as our version, is it? Yeah.
Our version is much clearer.
Yeah. We'll have to get our...
I have the enhanced one, I can play it well, but that is exactly what we got from you. I downloaded it straight from Dropbox.
Yeah, Mr. Stute's coming.
So what you're showing me now is, this doesn't show anything. This is what was provided to the defense?
Yes. Mr. Stute's on his way.
I downloaded that straight off Dropbox. So if your version's clear, that means that you didn't give us your version.
It's just playing weird.
That's not how that works.
Okay, so just for the audience listening at home, I know it's hard. Binger's complaining that the video they're playing is not, Krause says to him, yeah, our versions are much clearer. Binger, yeah. Natalie Wisco, I got this from you. I have the enhanced one because they enhanced their video, but that's exactly what we got from you. We got that from the Dropbox you sent us. The judge, so what you're showing me, this doesn't show anything. This is provided to the defense. And Richard says, yes. Binger says somebody else is on their way. Wisco says, that is what we got from the Dropbox. If your version is clear, that means you didn't give us your version. Then Krause suddenly goes, oh, well, it's just playing weird. Meanwhile, Krause already said our versions are much clearer. And Wisco said that's not how this works. The prosecution's not admitting that they gave them only the crappy version. They're saying, you must have downloaded it wrong. But this young Wisco is saying, because what you gave to the state crime lab has a different label and different sort of megabytes on it, I think, than what you gave me. So you clearly, it's not my computer. I literally just took exactly what you sent me. And you tell me whether this is a bigger issue than it first appears.
It is a substantial issue because the difference in quality was meaningful for evidentiary presentation and preparation. And the defense did not have the opportunity prior to the close of evidence, because they only found out this after the close of evidence, that there was a higher quality version that could have provided helpful information to them and help provide expert witness testimony that they could have used in some form of rebuttal or surrebuttal in this context, because this evidence only came in at the very latest stage by the prosecution. In fact, the video itself wasn't even discovered until middle of trial. My view is that was grounds for a mistrial right out of the gate. To have you can't have new evidence of this kind that was so relied upon. This was the primary evidence the prosecution relied upon for their provocation instruction, and the provocation instruction was the primary theory of the government's case by the time of closing. And the defense did not even have any aspect of this evidence until mid-trial, and the key aspects, the high-quality version, and they didn't have until after close of evidence. It also kind of came out today. It hasn't yet been presented in court, but it's been discussed elsewhere, that it appears this is a cropped video. And on top of that, it appears the prosecution lied about what was broadcast on Tucker Carlson. They said what was broadcast on Tucker Carlson did not disclose the source of this video, but actually Tucker did, had the name of the company and the name of the individual that this drone video footage originally came from. The defense had gone to that person and he claimed he didn't have it, and that the defense was mistaken. It turns out that was actually accurate all along. The prosecution knew it when they got it. We really don't fully know. They claim they didn't get it until mid-trial, but they didn't even turn over what was necessary because the digital tracking and tracing of this video evidence and labeling of this video evidence, the metadata, as the defense counsel Wisco noted, showed that what they were given was a different version, not the same version of what the government had.
Mm-hmm. This stuff matters. It may sound very technical, but again, as the defense lawyer said, we're talking about a man's life on the line. We're talking about life in prison he's facing. And so you need to be really careful. And as a prosecutor, this is a stomach drop moment when you realize you haven't given, if it really was inadvertent, that you haven't given the best evidence to the defense, which they have a constitutional right to get their hands on. I want to talk to you about what the jury asked to review. They got 45 minutes or so. They had unlimited time. They only took 45 last night. The judge, by the way, said to all the reporters, you will clear this courtroom. The jury's coming in here to watch it on the big screen. Anybody who leaves an electronic device behind can say goodbye to it forever because there'll be some sort of person who leaves their iPhone on tape trying to hear the jurors, so the bailiffs checked out the courtroom thoroughly and made sure nothing was in there. And the jury went in and watched several videos. The videos were of the drone videos showing the attacks, a video, FBI footage of the Rosenbaum shooting before and after, a slow motion video of, again, some of the incidents. But interesting to me was a soundbite of Gage Grosskreutz running along Rittenhouse. It's 8 seconds long. You can barely understand what they're saying, but there was testimony about it at trial. I want to play it here. Listen.
Hey, what are you doing? You shot somebody? Who shot? Who shot?
So they wanted to see that. And I'm fascinated by that. Why? Do you have any guess?
My guess is that somebody in the jury bought Binger's misrepresentation about what that showed. Because the Binger misrepresented that and Grosskreutz misrepresented that at trial as Kyle saying that he was police. And in fact, that's not it. He says, I'm going to the police. And so it may have been a dispute about what was said. And so you may have had somebody that's pro-conviction saying, well, he misrepresented the fact that he was police, this shows a sort of pattern of reckless behavior, et cetera, criminal intent. And somebody else said, no, that's not what he said on that. What he said was he was going to the police, which also makes Grosskreitz's actions even more irrational and more reasonable for Kyle to interpret Grosskreutz as a threat because he had told Grosskreutz, I'm going to the police, yet Grosskreutz pulls down a gun and tries to attack him when he's on the ground.